27 deals, I believe, before Black Card, all in syndicated venture capital space. He joined. He's like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm going to join. I want to do a fund. We helped him structure a fund. Right now, they're looking to close on their $20 million fund, their first fund ever. They've done a lot of deals, but never done a fund, and they've crushed it. We've actually now invested into, so we have a new fund called Fund Launch Partners. We're actually investing into some of our Black Card members. So last year, we actually wrote a check into Tom's fund and Jacques' fund. So actually, I had them on. They're like, these are phenomenal funds that came out of Black Card. We actually wrote checks. So last year, we did 6 funds out of Black Card. We committed about $1 million per fund. Now they kind of tranche in. We plan to do another 10 more this year. So our best and brightest people out of Black Card, we're always looking. We want to invest in your funds. We want to partner with you and be on your team and help you run. That's kind of the end result in Black Card we got there. So now I'll share briefly. I'm going to jump down a little bit. Yesterday, if you missed it, you missed it. I'm sorry. We're going to do an encore webinar tonight. I'm going to talk more about Trump tariffs, Fed rates, what's happening April 2nd. We have a ton of stuff happening next week. And I'd love to keep us up to date on the here and now. Like, what is going on? All these tariffs affecting, like, how is it going to affect your business? How are we going to make money off this? What's Doge doing? What's the plan right now? 2% cut. This is like foreign investment happening in the United States right now, short-term rates, how those are moving. So anyways, I try to keep our group very, very informed of what's going on. And they keep me informed, by the way. One of my favorite things about Black Card is they're very, very smart people in Black Card. So I brought on, after I did all this, if you keep me up for a second, if I brought on Jacques, he then educated me on, hey, this is what's going on in the real estate markets right now. This is what's happening in the macro. We're seeing a bunch of distressed property. He goes, I was with Stephen Wynn just last week talking about new hotels, and they're seeing this whole new thing branch out in the hotel space, and this is how they're approaching the market. I mean, that's a pretty cool take from just a quote-unquote regular member of Black Card talking about what's going on in the space. Tom also mentioned evaluation changes in venture capital. So for me, I'm not a venture capitalist. I have real estate investments, but I'm not a real estate fund manager. But it's very interesting to me to learn and to hear from other people in the space. And you can put me back if you want. You probably heard the quote, proximity is power. You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Those are cliche, those are done, whatever. They're said so much though because they're true. Who you surround yourself with, the people, the room you're in directly influence how you play big business, how big or small you think, and how well you can, do or not do in this world. So kind of cool. All right, I'll share 2 minutes on Black Card, and then we'll just open it up. So let me give you a background story a little bit. You can just leave me for a sec. So, and I might share my iPad here in a second. We'll see. So I grew up in Utah, of all places. Not in New York, not in Greenwich, Connecticut, in Utah. I grew up in a normal house. My dad drove a car with a dent in the door. My dad was just an entrepreneur. He started, I believe, 14 businesses throughout his life. So we were, as an entrepreneur kid, things are up and things are down. And my dad's very conservative. We just kind of lived in a normal house. He kind of drove a crappy car. I grew up in Utah. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm a Mormon. If you guys know the Mormons, I'm in Utah, right? And what does a, good Mormon or good member of the Church of Jesus Christ person do when they're 18, 19, 20 years old? They go on a mission, okay? I go on a mission. I get called to Taiwan, okay? So, and you don't know where you're going. You just put your papers in, and they send you anywhere in the world. I'm assigned to go to Taiwan and learn Mandarin Chinese for 2 years. I'm like, frick. Okay, here I go. So I go out to Taiwan, and it was, people ask, like, Bridger, how are you so good at, getting rejected or getting no's? Because when you're raising money, you get a lot of no's. And I'm like, dude, I went and tried to sell religion for 2 years, door to door. If that doesn't teach you how to handle rejection, nothing will, everything is easy after that. After doing that for 2 years, everything, raising capital, that's easy. It's easy to get rejection. It's easy to go talk to people because it really cut my teeth. And now I'll say this, my mission was phenomenal though. I love the people of Taiwan. I serve them day in and day out. It's all you do. It's 7 days a week. You don't have your own cell phone. You don't have a computer. You have nothing. You don't go to school. You don't work. You are a missionary full time, which is quite a crazy thing to just pluck a kid out of high school and just say, this is your thing. So if you see any church missionaries out, be nice to them, give them a cookie or something, pat them on the back. It is hard. You get a lot of rejection. Anyways, I come home from my mission and I go to university and I'm hyped. I'm like, okay, I'm getting in here. And my hair was on fire, man. I'm like, I'm going to go crush it. I'm like, I want to be in the business world. I started 6 different businesses my first 2 years of college. I did a Chinese tutoring business. We built websites for people. I was trying I wholesaled 2 houses. I did some real estate. Some of you guys are in real estate. I was just trying everything, as some do. You know, they go on YouTube. I was looking up on YouTube, like, how do I make money? How do I, I've tried all those things. My dad finally grabs me and he's like, Bridger, you're kind of like a chicken with your head cut off. Go talk to my business partner. My business partner, I think, can really help you out. To make a long story short, I go meet with his business partner. He lives in this beautiful, gorge white mansion. I go in, I come to find out, and I'm like, wow, this is impressive. This guy has all this money. My dad's kind of poor and broke. This guy lives in this huge mansion. Like, what gives, And he goes, at the time, he goes, we're managing investment funds. At the time, he goes, we're managing $8 billion of real estate. And I was like, holy crap. To put that into perspective, you guys know Grant Cardone Capital? That is twice as big as Cardone Capital is today. Now those funds, my dad's now retired. He retired when they were at $28 billion. They're now around, I think, $50 billion. They just sold to Apollo for like $1.5 billion, huge exit. It was crazy. My dad's one of the co-founders. I was like, holy crap. And I sit there, I was like, hey, can I learn from you? I come to find out, he's like, go talk to your dad. Your dad makes the same money as me. And I'm like, no, we're poor, we're broke. And he goes, no, me and your dad are making the same amount of money. And my chin dropped. I was like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, my dad's rich and why does he drive a crappy car, and we live in this whatever house? Anyways, my dad, very conservative guy, amazing dude. I go meet with him. He started to teach me about funds, how funds are built, how they're put together. And he said, Bridger, of all the business vehicles on earth, funds, he goes, I've started 13 other businesses. When I found a fund, it was the best business vehicle I ever chose to get into. Because all of us can choose business vehicles. We can choose to be in the restaurant business. We can choose to be in the landscaping business. We can choose to be in the real estate business, whatever it is. But he goes, if you look at the Forbes 100 list, the number 1 category of billionaires is fund management. Number 2 is tech. Number 3 is fashion. He goes, it is the best business vehicle to be in. If you're going to dedicate your life to something, you might as well dedicate it to the most lucrative, best vehicle on earth. Because sometimes when you get into certain vehicles, you guys have seen this before. Like, I was in the vehicle of Chinese tutoring, my first business. To scale a tutoring business, it's extremely hard, and you cap out, and it's like, the economics just don't work to scale that big because you need one-on-one tutoring. But to scale a fund, this is why the billionaires list is riddled with fund managers. It's an amazing vehicle to be in. So you guys being on today is phenomenal. So he taught me about funds. I'm going to make a long story really quick. He taught me about funds. We got the iPad out. I'm going to share some stuff today about stuff he taught me. And actually, I'll even give you a little quick preview. We can pull this open. He taught me a lot of these frameworks that you see maybe here on this iPad. We'll see if it loads up here. A lot of these frameworks about how funds are built, how they're put together, how to raise capital, how to structure them. And I went out, when you start to learn something, you start to recognize that thing in your life. I was 22 years old. I was working a job in college. I saw an opportunity where we could launch a fund. I took it to my dad. My dad loved the idea. We started to put this thing together at 22 years old. I'm like, I'm going to go launch a fund. I'm like, crap. I hit this wall. I'm like, how am I going to raise money? My dad, I'm going to go pitch my dad for money. So I'm like, I'm going to go pitch my dad. He'll probably love to put money in. So I go talk to my dad. I'm like, Dad, how would you like to be our first investor into our fund? My dad says, Bridger, I would love to invest, but if I invest in your fund, it would ruin the experience of you raising money on your own. This will be a crutch that you'll never be able to recover from. You need to go learn this on your own. And he kicked me out. I walked out with my tail between my legs a little bit, and I was like, shoot, I got to go figure this out. And so I went out, I hit the streets, I talked to everybody I knew. I raised a whopping $49,500 after about 4 or 5 weeks, which was enough to get started. We were doing these micro debt, private credit loans, very, very small. And 49 grand was enough. It was probably the smallest fund to ever launch, but I launched and I got moving. And that first group of investors, we got them a 64% return on their money. So small amount of money, but good return. We then pivoted into a second fund. That second fund, we raised and deployed millions of dollars out of that fund. I ran that for 3.5 years. Our returns were 62, 47, and 36% cash on cash return for 3 years to our investors. Phenomenal returns. I then had a competitor come in and buy us out. We sold and exited that fund. And then after that, I met with Dan Young. We started a blockchain investment fund. We now manage roughly $20 to $25 million of crypto right now, and that all equity, no debt. And it's been a phenomenal fund. I've ran that for 3.5 years. And then currently we run Fund Launch Partners. Maybe if you pull up my screen here. Oh, let me change it real quick. Sorry, I'm gonna give you a slide, make it a little bit faster. So you can see here, the first fund was Blackbridge Holdings. You see here on the left. Boom, there it goes. Ugly Unicorns, our other fund I run, and then we just raised Fund Launch Partners. We just oversubscribed this fund at $30 million. I think we oversubscribed at $32.5 million. We just closed that like literally this week. Right now it's happening. This is the fund that's investing into BlackCard members funds. So I'm in the game right now. I'm running funds. While we did this, people started to ask myself, my dad, and my brother. My brother, I didn't mention him. He's an investment funds attorney. He worked at the largest law firm in the world, Kirkland & Ellis, and he structures funds. And so a lot of people ask, how did you guys get in the fund game? My dad grew up in North Las Vegas, came from like nothing. We are in Utah, for crying out loud. None of us worked on Wall Street. None of us went to Ivy League schools. How did you guys figure out this fund game? So we started to put together some videos online. This is like 5 or 6 years ago. We started to put videos together. Anybody ever made content before online, like videos? It can be, you hope you put a video out, maybe, or a course, maybe 50 people will take it, or 100, 100, or maybe 1,000 people will take it. We've had now, you can see this number here, 100,000 people have taken one of our courses online, which is crazy. We've done multiple 2,000 person live events. We've launched, this is outdated now, over 300 plus funds out of Fund Launch. And we've done over 35 million revenue. This is a full business. I think we have 60 employees here. This business is rocking. It's been phenomenal. And the impact we've had on people of the untraditional manager. We are here to serve the untraditional person, the person who is, didn't get raised on Wall Street, didn't go to an Ivy League school, didn't do all that stuff. That's the person we're here to serve. And it's been phenomenal working through this process. And BlackCard has become our flagship product. We're going to talk about that a lot today. I'm going to move this over, Kendall, to the iPad here. We had a lot. We started first off with some course material, and then more people started like, hey, can you help me with my fund? We're like, sure. And then he's like, hey, can you help me put the legal together? We're like, sure. Hey, can you coach me through this? Can you give me a pitch deck designer? Hey, can you give me your list for your auditors? Can you give me your list for your tax people? And so finally I said, what if we organized this together into a group? And we called that group BlackCard. And then we started BlackCard about 4 years ago, something like that. And we slowly started to add more and more stuff and revamp it and make it better and better. Our vision of BlackCard is I want to make a product so good. BlackCard, I want to be so good that people come in and they're like, dang, I paid X and I got 10 times the value. Why? Furthermore, I want people to feel obligated. Many of you probably maybe have heard about BlackCard from other people. I want people to love BlackCard so much that they feel obligated to tell their friends and family, dude, you have to go check this thing out. It was phenomenal, okay? So in BlackCard now, as you see today, we've added, a phenomenal amount of stuff. I'm going to zoom in for a second. This gives you a sense of, and sorry, you're looking at the fund launch formula. This is how we structure funds. We can talk about this more, how we think about and talk about funds here. It's kind of a dynamic iPad here. So we go through phases. We have 4 phases in BlackCard. We go through number 1, vetting out your deal. This is a little screenshot of the back. We have curriculum, coaching, scorecards. We have you can go in here and watch all the stuff on how to frame your deal. We put you in different asset class tracks: private equity, venture capital, hedge funds, real estate, private credit, Canadian funds. So we put you in that asset track. You then get assigned an accountability coach. They actually work with you and help make sure that you find all the videos, everything works out. They're kind of like your personal assistant inside of BlackCard. We found people wanted to communicate, and the network was huge. So we opened up a private Slack community that's just for BlackCard members. We have 1,000 plus fund managers in there. And we have all of our coaches in there. We have 15 different coaches in there right now that are coaching all, and you can message me in BlackCard any time of the week. Me or any of the coaches, you message us, get help. Sometimes you don't need all this help. You just need an answer to 1 or 2 little questions. And you need to answer quick. And that's the idea. You can just get answers quick. Furthermore, we do office hours. Every day of the week besides Sundays, we do office hours where you can come in and talk. You can see 2 are on here. They're all about different topics. This one's all on finances. I do one I just finished mine on Wednesday. Dan Pearson goes live on about real estate at 2 p.m. later today. You can see every day we've got people coming on. Jim Riggio's for hedge funds. We have tax people. That's Stephen Hall. So you can come in and you can get answers to questions quickly. Then you move on to, and this happens the whole time you're here, but then you move to phase 2. This is all about how your fund is framed and put together. We have a full program and course you guys get access to. Again, one-on-one coaches that help, and then we'll actually place, if you would like, interns into your business. We have an army of interns begging me online, Bridger, can I please intern? We put out a LinkedIn post. We got 300 applications. Isn't that crazy, actually? It's wild. 300 kids in 2 days applied to be interns for us. We vetted that down and we only took 30. These are kids from MIT, Dartmouth, Yale, you name the university. These are college-age students that want to intern for your funds. In Blackcard, we'll go place those in your funds. Finally, we go over to the capital raising section. You come here, you're ready to raise capital? Awesome. Let's design your pitch deck. We have a full design team that designs your pitch deck. Again, we have specific coaches that help you here. We have a full software platform, Fund Launch 360, designed to help you manage your fund and do emails, texts, calls, manage your CRM, your pipeline, all that kind of stuff. Finally, about once a month, we do a capital committee. So once you're ready, we actually bring on, 12 to 25 different real world investors on a Zoom call. And we usually allow 3 to 5 Blackcard members to hop on and pitch those people and try to raise real money. We've had real capital get deployed out of capital committee. And furthermore, we have Fund Launch Partners, our internal fund that's going to look at potentially writing a check in your fund. Nothing's guaranteed. We don't guarantee any capital raising, but we guarantee you the opportunity to pitch and to put you in the right scenario. That's your job, to crush it. But we're going to remove every barrier possible to make it easy for you. And then finally, if you guys follow the fund formula, once we've soft raised some capital, we've got some commitments, we move on to then the legal. We have 8 different law firms. We will match you with a law firm that we think is the best suited for your situation. Again, we have coaches that help with this, and we have partnerships here. So you're going to need help with third-party administration, audit and tax. Maybe you need a license, insurance. We have partner groups in all these areas that help you, whatever you need, to add on to your fund. And we negotiate discounts for you on your behalf. It's kind of like, this is kind of the summary here, and then I'll take your questions. It's kind of like having this whole team. It's not kind of like, it is having this whole team think tanking your fund and helping you be successful. We have account managers. We have 15 coaches. We do, and I didn't mention this, we do 4 events a year with Blackcard. The next one is, actually, I think the deadline is this week to sign up. If you want to come to that event in Dallas, this week is the deadline to sign up. You got to be here because we're getting the RSVP list. It can be the W in Dallas, beautiful event. We're doing a full cap raising event in McGuire Woods the next 2 days. And then we're doing a training for a workshop with our group as well, which will be pretty fun. We have discounted tax and audit people. We have Fund Launch Partners, Fund Launch 360, full software, all designed to help make you successful. Okay? So that is the long and the short of what we've built with Fund Launch. It's been, a phenomenal service, especially, this doesn't exist anywhere else. You can't find this. The reason we built it, because I felt so lucky to have, you make me full screen if you want. I felt so lucky to have a dad and a brother in this space that taught me. It was the only way I got into this space as a kid out of Utah, for crying out loud. Like, Utah is like nowhere. And what we decided to do is, could we allow more people to have the same opportunities that we had? And that's why we built Blackcard. And that's why we're now investing and doubling down and helping this new space. Our mission at Fund Launch is to democratize Wall Street, is to make high finance accessible to everybody. There are, a few funds, Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock, taking over the world right now. They're buying up every single business you can imagine. We need more people like us to understand, number one, the game they are playing, where they're assembling these mega funds to go take over the world. And number two, yeah, we can go on Twitter, we can tweet, we can fight back, but really the best way to fight this back is to play and beat them at their own game. Now, you might ask the question, is this impossible, Bridger? Like, can I even do this? Well, a lot of data backs actually that up. So let maybe share my screen here. Let's see if this works. So here's us. By the way, this is is that working here? There we go. This is my family, by the way, my beautiful wife. We just had a baby girl. This is Paris right here, baby Paris. That's Jonah. My wife's amazing. We grew up on the same street together our whole lives. She's amazing, dude. My wife's awesome. And Paris, by the way, slept through the night the last 3 nights in a row at 6-7 weeks old. So that's freaking crazy. If you guys have kids, My wife's big on sleep training. We've been doing this and it doesn't work for every kid, but Jonah, he was by 12 weeks, he was sleeping 12 hours a night. We're trying to get Paris on the same schedule, and it's been awesome. So she's amazing. My wife's beautiful and awesome, and it's great. I love being married. We're married 6 years this year, and we've known each other pretty much our whole lives. When she moved in when I was like 9 years old on the same street. So pretty cool. Sorry, squirrel. That was a little distraction, but should be good. So let me jump down here. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping back. You can just leave it up. You're good. So right here, fund managers. Emerging managers statistically outperform funds over $1 billion by a percentage return. There's a lot of reasons for this. And this right here is looking at excess PE or venture capital or real estate returns for years, okay? So this is additional return that these fund managers had during different vintages. And furthermore, emerging managers place attention on fewer investments, and they can invest in smaller, more efficient markets. When you have over $1 billion, it's hard to produce a 30% return on $1 billion than it is to produce a 30% return on $100,000, right? Just because you're in much larger, it's just larger numbers, right? We have this opportunity as emerging managers. There's this whole space. We actually flew out and met with Blackstone. This is BlackRock right here. Blackstone, they have a full emerging manager division. They are looking for people like us to seed and find the next fund manager because they see how much alpha is created by young, new emerging fund managers. They loved what we were doing. Their emerging managers are like $500 million. Our emerging managers are like $5 million. So much, we're like micro fund managers to them, but pretty darn cool. Okay, I can talk about this for a minute. I won't, but this is all the things that are being consolidated right now. We need to fight back. We call ourselves the Wall Street Rebels. I'm going to jump down this. You see all the television and film. You see everything being consolidated right now. This is food and food production. You see car companies. The consolidation in this planet is crazy. So how do we play in this game? We call it the rise of the retail investor, us, the people, okay? We call ourselves the Wall Street Rebels. So I'm going to pause. There's my spiel. Went a little bit longer than I thought. Let's now open it up to y'all. So let's do this. Let's put it full screen here. I hear a lot of you have met with my team before. You have questions about Blackheart. I want to answer them. So let's do this. To keep us in order, put your question in the chat. Let's do this. Drop your question in the chat. Or I think we got a relatively small group today. You can even raise your hand. Actually, let's do this though. Use the chat as like the order. So if you have a question, you can even just say, I have a question. And that just keeps me in order for who's in line. Or type out the question, say, hey, I have a quick question here. I'll use that as my order, and then I'll so we can keep kind of a line. I'll do the question, and you can come on live if you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you can stay on mute. I can just read the question out, and I can answer it on the iPad. Does that sound fair? Okay, let's do this. So, that's sweet. Web3. Okay, let me pull up here. I was on camera for 2 very different calls. The other one actually requires me to smile. Yeah, you got to smile, Sarah. You're going to be on camera here. Web3 is moving from digital products in the real world. Blockchain is the energy sector and DAOs to manage. Oh, that was about your fund, what you're doing. Okay, very cool. Okay, Tyrus, I have a question. Let's bring you on live. Let's change the settings here if you can help me out. Tyrus, come on. Come on live if you're there.
Can you hear me?
I can. Is Tyrus the right way to say it, your name?
Yes. Actually, it is, yeah.
Very cool. Welcome on. Good to have you here.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is...
Can you add a spotlight for him too? Sorry, go ahead, Tyrus.
Okay, yeah, so I have 2 questions. Not 2 questions, I have two partners. One been in real estate for like 20 years in commercial real estate. The other guy's a marketing guy. And so we came together to do a fund. I've been watching you for, I don't know, probably like 3 to 6 months now, just listening and checking it out. I like it. But my question is this. Is it possible to do a real estate fund and a debt fund? Because I don't know a lot about real estate. He knows a lot about real estate, but I really believe in the debt funds. I like the way they do the hard money lending. I think it's really cool. And I like the returns and the turnover on it. So is it possible to structure a fund where it's a real estate fund, but we also do like,
I got it.
Lending to, okay.
Share my iPad if you can. So if I'm understanding correctly, hey, we got real estate. We want to do, so maybe tell me further, how would it be split up? If you raised, I don't know, let's give me an example. If you raised 10 million Is it like 50-50, 50%'s here, 50%'s here? How do you want to supplement it? How do you want to split it up?
I would like to. I know, like in real estate, especially in commercial real estate, it varies as far as like what you're trying to get, and the 30% that you have to put down. So I know that varies, but I feel like it should probably be 50-50 just because how fast the debt fund could turn over.
Yeah. So why not just do that? Why not just do the debt fund? If the debt fund's so good, why don't you just do that all the time? Just put all the money there. If it's so good, why don't you just put it there?
I would love to. Maybe I will, but they're kind of like a little gung ho about the real estate part. But I know that takes 3 to 5 years to mature, and I know that the debt fund is like a year to year. I would like to just do a debt fund. That would be phenomenal just to do a debt fund.
Okay, well, I'll give you I'm asking you credit. Let me give you the answer. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, you can do that. With funds, with all of you, you can just, like, everyone's like, can I do this type of fund? The answer is yeah. The better question, though, is do I want to do this? That's the question. So the answer is yeah, you can totally do it, but why? That's why I asked, like, well, if the debt fund's so good, why don't I just do the debt fund? Furthermore, if the real estate's so good, why don't you just do the real estate fund? Now, so this comes down to I'm going to zoom over here. We talk a lot about like building your edge here. And I'm going to go through this briefly, but we have a lot of different edges you can have and so we're talking about your strategy edge. You've got to, when you're pitching an investor, you're pitching like, hey, we are better than everybody else. We are absolute experts at real estate, right? Like we are phenomenal. And this is your competition right here. Your competition is someone in multifamily real estate doing value add, 20 years of experience. They've already done 3 funds and they're charging a 2, 20, and 8% play. Like, how are you going to beat that? You got to figure out a point of this edge that's stronger. Well, hey, we have a better strategy than them. Or, hey, we've got a better structure than them or a better team or something, right? Otherwise, they're just going to go with your competition. So the question is, you're trying to explain to them, hey, we are absolute experts, right, on this. That's a little bit big. Experts. And then you go, okay, great. And also, and by the way, we're also experts on debt. Yeah. And it kind of comes off like, wait, you just sold me that you're experts on real estate. How are you also experts on debt? Right? And private credit. So it comes off a little disingenuous typically. So generally what we see when people want to do 2 funds, we tell them to set up 2 separate funds. Set up just a real estate fund. Okay. And also set up a separate vehicle that is a, we'd call it a private credit fund. Or, you're issuing debt, private credit. I would set up 2 separate funds and investors can choose. And they can invest in both these funds. They can invest, maybe I only like private credit. I'm only going to do that debt fund over here. Great. That's how most big funds do it and you have maybe different teams here because you want people eat, sleeping, and drinking one strategy and you don't want to have conflict of interest. Now, all that being said, that's generally what I see. You can do it though. I have seen some funds put these 2 assets together and it works. And they paint one story. They say, hey, the debt supplements us in the short term. The real estate makes us money in the long term. And it works together in a really great way. So you can do it both. So that answer that question?
It does. And that's actually what I was thinking, like how it could supplement. But I see the other side of it where someone could look at it and say, how are you an expert in everything? I get that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, great question, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep moving through here. And by the way, I've always been told go faster on these questions. All my team's always like, go faster. So I'm going to try to go faster. Don't feel like, and if I don't answer it fully, just tell me. We can come back to you too. Okay, that was, let's see. Dan, unmute yourself if you want. Do you have any experience with DAOs? DAOs were very popular. What was it? 2021, 2022. This is a decentralized autonomous organization. We actually looked at launching you call it like a DAO platform for funds. DAOs got so much if you guys don't know what DAOs are, don't worry about it, but a lot of them were in crypto. You could move money in. They were these decentralized autonomous organizations where one of them bid on buying the Broncos, the Denver Broncos. They've raised like $2.5 billion or something to go buy the Broncos, and all these individuals could own it. Very cool concept. They had so much fraud happen in them. It really put cold water in the industry. Furthermore, the Biden administration was very anti-crypto, and there's a lot of regulations that hit. The SEC was very hard. So we backed away from it, building something on that, and it was just so much. So currently, I don't have a ton of experience building a DAO, and we have some experience underwriting DAOs. Currently with Black Card, though, we don't do it. Now, this new administration, new SEC, new all the stuff that's going on, very pro-crypto. This might make a comeback. I'd probably rename it just because they had such bad, name with DAO. So that's what I would say, Dan. Any follow-ups, Dan, on that? Okay, sounds good. We'll move on. Let's go to Everett. Everett says, I have a question.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me okay?
There you are. Yep, I can hear you.
Perfect. First of all, thanks for having us. This is super awesome, super grateful for this. My wife went to BYU, so, I know the whole story.
Oh, sweet. Go Cougs. We're in the Sweet 16.
Yes, sir.
Which never happens. I live in Utah. Sports in Utah sucks, dude. No one's ever good in Utah. If you're raised in Utah, you have to go find another sports team to just cheer for that lives is across the country. But we finally might have a good team, so we'll see. It's fun. Sorry, Everett, go ahead. Yeah.
That's for sure. So I guess the first question that I have is from steps 1 to 3, obviously setting everything up, that it's, you're getting into pitching some family offices, some high net worth individuals. Are you connecting us with them? Are they also a part of Black Card? How? So I feel like that's my biggest thing is okay, now I have everything set up. How do I get in front of these people to pitch it? Is that something that you also help us get into as well? And maybe how often?
Yeah, great question. Maybe share my screen again. So yeah, on the fund launch format here, you're talking about phase 3 capital raising. Now, it's funny. I'll share 2 answers to this, Everett. Number 1, per SEC rules, I cannot promise you anything at all. I cannot promise you that you can raise capital. I can't promise you that you're going to be successful at all. On the cap, otherwise I would have to file as a broker dealer or a registered investment advisor, and I'd have to be, have a broker dealer's license, which we don't have. So as far as capital, what we do as the capital raising, number 1, we help you with this. We call it the 3-stage raising capital. Number 1, how do you get in the room? Just how do you get around the family offices? Number 2, how do you actually connect or warm up? Let's use that example of family offices to get the chance to actually even pitch them. These are 3 distinct phases of raising capital. So we teach heavily on, and everyone struggles with different parts. Some people are better at this part and terrible at this part. Other people are really good over here and they, not so good over here. So that's what we help you, number 1, figure out. Now this is kind of the groups that you would go after. High net worths, family offices, or institutions. Most people in Black Card are probably going after, this group down here, right? Check sizes, $5 million or less, because you're just not big enough to take on institutional capital typically. So furthermore, if I come down to here, so introductions wise, and if I shared on Black Card, sorry, I'm gonna go back to here. So what we do, we have a capital committee that actually is once a month meets that you can actually pitch. These are real world investors. Furthermore, Fund Launch Partners looks at you to invest as well. We have an investor database that you can actually scrape and use. This year, we're throwing 3 capital raising events. So we did one in January. We partnered with Jetson Capital. We did our event the day before. Then all of our members if you wanted to apply, you could go to Jetson Capital the next day and pitch and raise money from them. This event in Dallas, we're the day before we're meeting. And then the next 2.5 days is McGuire Woods, the Emerging Manager Conference event. And we sponsored the event. A lot of our members are going to it to go raise capital. So we try to put you in the best situation possible to raise capital. So we have investor lists. We have a CRM with Fund Launch 360 that helps you can outbound different leads in different groups. But we can't do the pitch for you, right? We can't. Now we're working on this right now to see what we can and can't do. We're trying to do as much as we can.
I don't want to. Promising something that's on my hands or the fund manager's hands would be just ridiculous. I'm just more of can you help me get in front of them? That was kind of the idea. And to what you're saying is yes, you can get me into their
yes.
Room,
We can definitely help you with this piece. Yeah, we have a bunch of partners. Some of them, it's money. How do you get in the room? We have a group. They 2 times a month they do with it's 12 to 15 grand. You get to go pitch 30 to 40 family offices from around the globe. They set up with the Commerce Department. They go to Singapore. They go to Korea. They go to the UK, Dubai. And you fly out and you get guaranteed 30 pitches in front of huge family offices. We have partners that do it. So we have all these kind of partners on the capital raising side. The last thing I'll share though with this group, what we found with capital raising. I'm going to zoom out for a second to give you a visual. Most people join Black Card, which is great. I'm here. I need to raise like 10 million bucks. I'm like, cool, let's do it. And they're like, and I'll share this from a real life story. I was trying to raise, it was like a $24 million fund in real estate during COVID. We thought we had this great idea that we were going to go and buy big box stores like malls and stuff and renovate them and turn them into like, higher and better usage during COVID. All these distressed properties in COVID, like, man, that sounds pretty awesome. We went and pitched it. We did phase one. We built our deal out in front. We thought it was good. We pitched the capital and no one wanted to give us money. I mean, it was like zero. And I'm like the fund guy. And I'm like, man, I can't even raise $1. Like everyone hates this. And so what we did is I went back to the drawing board. I was like, okay, what's wrong here? We tweaked it. We tried again. No one raised capital. And then we said, let's just restart. I found some new partners. We said, let's do a blockchain-based fund. And I found some incredible partners that had done, 2014, he had the largest crypto miners in the state of Utah. So we pivoted strategies. We pivoted heavy. We went to the capital side. We raised $10 million on our first close, like instantly. I was like, oh, shoot, that's kind of crazy. And the reason I tell you that story, a lot of people join Black Card and think their current deal is perfect. We kind of have this analogy. Our goal of Black Card is this. Anybody can go and just hire a lawyer. All of you could just go hire a lawyer right now to build a fund. It's not that hard. Now, they might charge you 50, 60, 100 grand because, all that stuff. The big crux of Black Card is what is on the fund. Is it a beautiful Gordon Ramsay dish that's like investors are dying to have, investors want this fund, or is it a stinky fish that like sucks? A lot of people join Black Card lovingly. I love all you guys. And you come in with this kind of stinky fish. You're like, dude, it's perfect. Let's just jump. Let me just jump all the steps. I'm ready to launch, man. I'm like, okay, let's just give us a little bit. And we go to step one and we start validating your deal, which is like we go through risk control return, we start vetting out your deal. And we point out to you, if you were an investor, would you invest in that? These are your competitors. Why would I invest in you versus the competitor landscape right now? How can we make an offering so good that investors are dying to have it? That's why we do this fund launch formula in this order. You start with step one, then you go to step two, then you go to step three, and then typically you circle back to step one. You kind of do this loop. We do this on purpose to make a fund that investors are dying to have, that when you launch it, you're going to raise all the money you need on the launch because it's so good. So when you ask about capital raising, yes, can we make the introductions? Can we get you in the right rooms? Yes. But more importantly to us, can we build a fund that investors want? That's the crux of Black Card. And a lot of people most funds, I'll just say this from experience, most funds never launch. Most funds raise $0, like just in general. Most funds do this. They go to phase 4 first. They hire a lawyer. They pay $40,000. They go pitch investors, and they really don't raise enough money for their first close, and that's it. And they have to go pay now. They have $40,000 bill. They got to pay because lawyers are going to get paid, and that's it. That's the vast majority of funds. So long answer, Everett, to your question. Is that helpful, though? Is that useful? Am I hitting the right spot?
Yeah, of course. And I guess my follow-up question is a second one. Kind of a little bit more towards the payment plan. Now, I know you guys have something kind of going on, and since I'm here in Fort Worth, I potentially have the opportunity to go to the McGuire Woods conference, things like that. Maybe be too soon to go if it's only a month out, and phase 1 through 3 really isn't, or phase 1 and 2 really isn't ready. Just kind of wanted to see what that payment plan looks like. If it's by phase you pay out once you get to the next phase, or if it has to be all up front, just kind of what that looks like. Yeah,
great question. So let's talk about payment plan first. We're doing something special this week. So Black Card, and I'll say this in general, Black Card is a la carte. So, I'm sure you've met with my team and people on here. You can select what you'd like or not like. Black Card is anywhere from like rough numbers, $20,000 to $45,000, roughly, depending on what you want, how much help you need, or whatever you need. So it just depends on who you've talked to and what you've done there. We're doing something special this week, and this week only because we have the end of the quarter here. We are doing you can just start for $5,000. So $5,000 down gets you in the door. Black Card is a lifetime membership, which is pretty cool. We changed this last year. We were like, you know what? People are doing this. We want to work. We love our clients. Like, We used to do it as 1 year. We've now have made it lifetime. Now there's certain things that we can't do forever, like the events. Like there's, I can't guarantee I'm doing events when I'm 90 years old. I just can't guarantee that, okay? But I can guarantee that you can have access to the portal, all the stuff. Like you're in the community lifetime, which is pretty cool, okay? So you can start today for $5,000. This ends the 28th, and then it goes back to whatever other payment plans you guys have already been pitched. Furthermore, we've done some cool discounts and other things on this, whatever you guys have been offered so far. So I would talk to the person you've talked to on my team. They would give you more details on your situation. But that's kind of the range of prices. The last question you had was on McGuire Woods. So the McGuire Woods events is next month in Dallas. Now you were like, am I too early? For the McGuire Woods piece, maybe. They're just about sold out. And we've actually, some people have been turned down. It's a legit event. Not just anybody can go. You have to have your stuff lined up to go to this event. If you're brand new, you're probably not going to McGuire Woods, but we are doing our event the day and a half before. So you come, we're doing a full day on Monday and then about a half day on Tuesday. We're going to talk all about building your fund, cap raising. Our coaches are flying in. Our people are there. It's phenomenal. We do surveys in Black Card a lot. We want to hear about our Black Card members, what they're thinking. And most people join Black Card for a variety of reasons. Most people stay in Black Card because of the events, because of the network, the people. They're like, dude, I didn't realize I just joined a group of, it's now 1,200 people in Black Card of like absolute killers. Like people that are doing wild stuff. If you go to funlaunch.com / testimonial, you can just hear the stories of our current Black Card members, what they're doing. I mean, you're entering a group of people that are, when you tell people you're raising a fund, people are like, what? Like your mother-in-law's like, what are you doing? Like, people like think you're weird, like what? Like, what is this? And you're like, dude, I'm going to go build a fund. Like, okay, good luck. But then you join, we have this little corner of the internet of people crazy enough to play in this game like us. And you get to come be around, like the energy is like palpable. It's like an amazing group. Anyways, I would highly recommend you come to the McGuire Woods event, especially if you're in Texas. It's phenomenal. So.
Awesome.
Everett, great questions. Everett got me talking. I'm supposed to be quick. I kept saying, I'm going to be quick on these questions. Yeah, I'm going to be quick now. And I'm happy to stay on after the hour, so stay on with me. All right, let's keep going. And by the way, if I feel like I've already answered a similar question, I might skip over your question. You can maybe rephrase it later. Matthew, hello, my name is Matt. I'm looking to start a $20 million cryptocurrency fund, 1 to 2 investors first before starting and figure $1 billion fund once. So the first fund history so I can gain traction to raise money for a larger fund. Is Black Card good for this size of fund? I'm looking to launch first or better for large funds. No, Black Card, if 20 to 40 million, that's perfect. Black Card, that's like the perfect range. Yeah, it's awesome. We have 30 to 40 people in Black Card doing crypto-based funds right now, which is I'm in the crypto. I run about a $25 million blockchain fund, crypto fund right now. I love having our community because crypto, as you know, it's sometimes hard to get bank accounts. It's hard to get prime brokers to work with you. Like there's a lot of hoops, and our community helps each other in this. How to get insurances and stuff. There's a little bit of nuance. We actually just filmed a full cryptocurrency asset track. I filmed it on how crypto and blockchain funds work. So you can go, it's right up your target alley. I'd say 100%.
Excellent.
Anything else, Matt?
Where is the best place to launch a crypto fund? I'm looking into the Cayman Islands or Bermuda for tax reasons, for trading and everything like that. Wasn't sure what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, this is a big discussion in our group community. There's people do both. We did ours in the United States, in Delaware, because of the legitimacy of just being in the United States for capital raising. When you're raising capital, you're like, hey, we're doing this crypto fund, which is already like a lot of people don't like crypto,
Yes.
And also it's in the British Virgin Islands. Oh, and also like it just is another layer of like, feels like a scam, And so with our fund, we did the exact opposite. We said, we're going to be in the United States. We're going to be SEC compliant. We're filing with FINRA. We're doing annual audits. We're doing a third-party administrator. We are going to button this fund up. So everything is just normal vanilla. It's like any other fund, and even more than other funds. And we also just trade crypto. And it's helped us raise a lot more capital because of that, I believe.
Yeah, I was looking to target international investors as well. That's kind of why I was thinking going that route instead of just strictly U.S.
And if that's the case, then you might be fine. Yeah, you might be better in the Cayman Islands. So, and we have lawyers and stuff we have a bunch of guys in our group that have figured this out already. And it's quite there. And regulations are changing like every day with crypto. So there are things to figure out and done, but we have a group doing this right now. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for this Zoom.
Yeah, Matthew. Good question, man. It's gonna be fun, man. Crypto's about to blow up. We're excited. That's what we think, at least. It's gonna be fun. All right, let's go to the next one. Warren Dixon. I have a potential GP that has a Series 65 and 66 licenses that is a Wells Fargo financial advisor. We are working through any conflicts now. How much additional value will this bring to real estate fund? Yeah, Warren. So he wants to be a partner with you. Is that what you're saying? He's going to join your GP?
Yeah, he's one of our potential team members. So,
Cool.
So I don't know when we build that team, what additional value would he bring because he's holding those licenses?
The licenses by themselves, there's a lot of people that have licenses. There's a lot of people that are financial advisors. So, and you could get, you study for a couple of weeks, you could get your 65, 66. Like it's not crazy. It takes some work, but it's not crazy hard. So I wouldn't bring someone on personally just for the licenses. And you may not even need licenses. If you're an exempt reporting advisor for your fund, especially in real estate, many funds don't even need the licenses until they're over 150 million AUM. Now, if this person though brings a clientele, brings their value, like there's other ways they add value, then great, that's something you can evaluate. But I would just say for the license alone, I'd probably say, it helps a little bit. It's helpful, but it's not death kill. That's what I would say.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, hope that's useful. Sweet. Steven, can you remember the tuition? I think we just went over tuition costs a second ago. Dan Kimball, Musk has created a DAO called Big Green DAO. Okay, very cool. DAO, maybe DAOs will come back. We'll see. You got to really look at DAO governance, who controls and who buys. What was happening in DAOs, it was like 51% vote, and a big whale would come buy up 52% of the whole thing, and then appoint themselves the entire treasury, and they drain the whole DAO because now they have all the voting shares, and they would drain the whole treasury and they would just take all the money. These big sharks were doing this over and over again. So really, you got to read when our fund, our due diligence, we read all of the stuff. We go through all the tokenomics. You got to really make sure it's sound. So Ryan Peterson tank note. Hey, maybe we'll get Cooper Flag though, Ryan, for the Utah Jazz. But right now we are tanking. That's awesome. Dan, flash joule heating is a disruptive new industrial process capable of refining lithium with over 80% energy costs. Okay, really cool. Any question there? Oh, there's another one. I'm the most optimistic for blockchain. Dan, do you have a question here, or is this just more about your business? Dan, you can unmute yourself if you want.
I'm just sharing some information there that I think is pretty valuable. I had a question later in the chat that I was wondering if it's possible to use crypto funds to finance real-world assets instead of just circling back in on more, digital assets to finance like real-world projects.
Yes, there are, I bet 100 startups working on this right now. We looked into this a lot. We continue to look into it. There are a number of groups that have announced plans to do this. Like they're going to take real estate and tokenize it, or put it on, or raise money from crypto. The current, all the people I've talked to, a number of people, like a Y Combinator group that was building this. The tech is all ready to go. They all hit a regulatory wall with conflicting things. One of the examples is like the SEC requires every person that owns one of your tokens has to be KYC'd in AML, which means know your customer and anti-money laundering, which is seemingly impossible to do if you're selling it in crypto, right? So then you have to build your own platform, and people have to be KYC'd and AML to come on the platform, and then they can participate in these deals, which you could do. That was one that was very hard for these groups. There's a couple other ones that have been, the SEC has required. Now we'll see if any of those change. So we'll kind of see. That's what I would say though. So, and I'm hopeful. A lot of big groups have said, yeah, we want to tokenize. I think BlackRock even said they want to tokenize a piece of all of their holdings as well. So we'll see what they come up with. I have not successfully seen like a big group do it in a big way yet. So we'll see. Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. But if you have anybody, let me know. We keep looking at it because it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. So.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Adam dropped in our testimonials chat there. Sarah, are you working with crypto structures 3 through 5 yet? Space, time, and volume hosting as base assets versus mining in the bank dumpsters. Not dissing the miners, just trying to explain briefly, as many not familiar with 3.0 to 5.0 yet. Am I working with any from 3 to 5? I don't know of any doing that kind of stuff in our group right now. Now they could be, but I don't know. Anything you'd add to that, Sarah?
No, I was just curious. I know there's not a lot of people doing it, so I was kind of hoping.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know of any group that's like really working on that right now. So maybe that's got to be you. So. Okay. I think, are we down to the bottom of the questions here? If you have any more questions, drop them in, or you can raise your hand. I can bring you on, or we can touch on more things. I'll, with our last few minutes here as well, with Black Card, maybe I'll share my screen again here. We go all out for you guys. Furthermore, we have a full company behind us building and making Black Card better for y'all every day. I wish I could, maybe we could bring someone on, but pluck someone. You can even see our testimonial chat. Maybe I'll pull that up. But the Black Card, we like reinvent Black Card every 6 to 10 months. Like we are constantly improving this right now. So you've seen all this stuff. This is a living product. This is not something that's just stagnant and sitting. We are building right now, it's hopefully coming out in a few weeks, a ton of stuff around doing a single asset fund. So a lot of you are like, hey, I'm just trying to raise for 1 or 2 assets. We have a full new software we're building right now and a full back-end procedure that would walk you through that step by step. We're bringing on new coaches constantly. We have, I think, a handful of new coaches we just signed. So we are drastically building this and taking your feedback to make this better. Again, it is a lifetime product. When you join Black Card, you are in the Black Card family. And I'll say this again. Many of us, you might be sitting there, well, am I ready yet? You know, is this the right time for me to join Black Card? Which is a good question. It's a good question anybody should ask. You know, it seems it's a decent chunk of money. It's not cheap to join Black Card. Should I join now? Should I join later? I'll give you just a quick thought from me. You can make your own decisions. Number one, it takes time to build a fund. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme at all. This takes time. Like when you're going to raise tens of millions of dollars from investors, you got to be buttoned up. You got to do this the right way. You got to make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. You don't just wake up one morning and raise $25 million. It's a full effort. Now, that being said, it's a well worthwhile effort. I did a recent video on YouTube about how much fund managers make. This is the category. This is why it's funny. You look at all these people online. Anybody guys follow Cody Sanchez, Pace Morby, Grant Cardone, a lot of these groups, like Ty Lopez. I mean, you can go back as far as him. All of them, they teach stuff online. They teach real estate. They teach like buying stuff. All of them are launching investment funds. Ryan Pineda launched investment funds. Pace Morby just launched a $100 million. Why are they launching funds? Because it's the greatest business vehicle on earth. This is where everybody ends up. If you're successful in real estate brokerage, your goal one day is I want to run a fund. If you're a successful trader, one day your goal is like, man, one day I'm going to run my own fund. This is the end result. And so, furthermore, think back to my story. When I started learning about this stuff, I had no plan. I just knew, I was like, this is an interesting direction. My dad started teaching me, I'm like, I want to start rowing in that direction. And what's crazy is when you start rowing in a direction, you call it law of attraction, call it whatever. It's kind of like when anybody bought a new car before and you start seeing that car everywhere. You know, it's not like there's magically, like I drive an F-250 right now, a white F-250 truck. Love my truck. When I got that truck, all of a sudden I started to see trucks everywhere. It's not like there's magically more trucks. It's just you start to pay attention to that thing. The same thing is true with Black Card and with funds. The moment you start learning about this space, your mind starts to pay attention to the world around you. That's what happened to me. I was working at a job in college, and I went, hold on, we could do a fund in this business. And I started to put together the mechanics of how this fund would be built, okay? Furthermore, you might come into Black Card, if I share my screen again, we might come through and your idea might, you might go through this and go, man, my current idea isn't so great. Guess what? That's okay. We're married to the process. That's why Black Card is lifetime. You might come in and say, yeah, I was planning on doing this real estate, senior assisted living, and you come in and we build your edge and you might go, you know what, we should probably pivot. We talk to some of the coaches, some of the other members. We're going to do a little tweak of this and pivot. Any great company goes through multiple pivots. And what's more important is the actual founder, the person. It's not the idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Your idea might be great, it might be crap. I don't know. It's more about the actual person, the jockey on the horse. That's what's crucial. And I'll share one story with you. Again, I preach this so hard because I have lived it. In college, me and Mason went to an event. So Mason's my co-founder. Went to an event, and this is when I was like on business number 3. Remember I told you I started 6 businesses my first 2 years of college, right? Remember I told you that story? This is like business number 3 at the time, and we're kind of like struggling. Like we're not really doing much. I'm in school. I'm trying to start these businesses. We go to this event. This guy pitched on stage a program that was $15,000 to join. This is a true, 100% true story. $15K. And this was before I did my funds or anything else. This was to go and help build. This is like an online marketing kind of like thing. Mason's like, dude, we got to join this. And I'm like, bro, we're not joining this thing. That's so much money. We don't have that much money. Together in our bank account, because we'd done these businesses, we had was it 2,500? Let's call it $2,500 in our bank account. Together in our business. He said, dude, let's do this. We called him up. We bought this thing. We put $2,500 down. We put it on a payment plan for $1,000 a month. Okay? That was our payment plan. We joined this thing. I was like, I was 20 years old, 21 years old at the time. What it did was so interesting. The psychology that happened. Now, the program was great, but the psychology that happened to me and Mason was crazy. Me and Mason were both in college, and all of a sudden we're like, crap, we've got to pay this bill. We had our feet to the fire. We got to figure out something to work. And so we started like, okay, let's brainstorm stuff. We had this and we had some training. We're like, okay, let's figure this out. So we started to figure it out. And we went and we started our next little venture we did took off. And we made like, by take off, we mean like we made like $7,000. We were like, dude, that was sick. And then we did our next little one. We were building websites for companies at the time. Like, hey, we build your website, we'll build a funnel. And like our clients started to do well. And we're like, oh, this was helping us do this. We paid this thing off. And then get this. So we made a little bit of money. Then we were moving on and stuff. We had made, 22 grand. So nothing crazy. And we paid off this thing, this course. A year and a half, 2 years later, Mason, we're still friends and partners. We've done a few things together. He's like, dude, remember that course we took 2.5 years ago? What if we built this thing called Fund Launch? You run a fund right now. Your brother and dad run a fund. What if we built this thing? And we have all the tools. We learned it literally 2 years before. A year and a half, I guess you could say. A year and a half before. Now, that'd be interesting. And so we started to make content. We followed a lot of stuff we had learned here. And boom, we launched Fund Launch. Our first, 6 months, we did $1 million in sales. Our first 12 months, we did $2.5 million in sales. From stuff that we had learned. It was opportunity had met preparation. There might be stuff you learn today that may affect your business career for the next 15, 20 years. Is that making sense? Now, furthermore, since then, I'm telling you, I do this all the next year we joined a group. It was $30,000 to join this group. We did 3 events a year. That was it. There was no coaching. There was no help. There was no Facebook group. It was 3 events a year. Called the Avengers Mastermind Group. I joined another group. It was $24,000. They did 6 events a year. That was it. Last year, me and Mason joined a group. It was $150,000 for 1 year. I've made some money in my life, but 150 grand is a lot of money. It was 150 grand for 1 year. This is Russell Brunson's Category King Group. They did 4 events and they had a little Voxer you could message him. There's no coaching. There's no help. There's no pitch deck design. There's no legal. There's nothing. It was just 4 events a year. And we joined it. And guess what? It was awesome. Because guess what? All these were great because everyone else there had also spent 150 grand to be there. It's a pretty good room to be in. Everyone there had spent 30 grand to be there. I'm an active participant in masterminds. I do this myself. The reason I feel so confident talking about Blackheart and building this, I've number one, been through like a lot of other people's courses and products. So I've taken the best pieces. Number two, I'm a product of this. The reason I shared that slide before, but we've done tens of millions of revenue and raised all this money. I think we manage now 50, 60 million is because of the upfront cost that we spent joining groups to learn stuff and buy shortcuts. Could I have learned some of the stuff on YouTube? Yeah, maybe, but I could pay $24,000 and buy a shortcut. What I'm offering you with Blackheart is a shortcut. This is a way that you can condense, you could collectively decades of experience down to a few months. And as you guys know, time is money. Furthermore, removing all the barriers and blocks to be in this, and this might be something that affects you down the road. I'll share one more story. If you guys okay, storytelling. I'll share one more story and then we'll hit a few more questions. One more story. I was young at the time. I think I was 25, maybe 24. We'll call it 25. We'll go the older year. I'll call it 25. I'll move it up here. I got invited to a meeting. This meeting, Mike was the guy's name. Mike invited me. And at this point, I'd run a few funds. I started my first one at 22. I'd ran a few funds for a few years. I got invited to this meeting. Mike was there. 2 other guys were there. We'll call them, X and we'll call them Y. Okay? X and Y were there. I show up to this meeting and they're talking about a new fund that they're going to build. Okay? You guys following along? So I get invited to this meeting. I'm 25 years. This guy's like 45 years old. This guy's like 40 years old. They have, private jets, Ferraris, houses. These guys are, did I write pirates? Private jets. I think they own 2 private jets. The one guy, the other guy has, these are successful business people, twice my age. I show up. And it was pretty obvious. They were pretty mad that Mike had invited me to this meeting. They were like, why is this Bridger kid here? And I'm like, I don't even know, man. And Mike invited me. Mike's like, no, Bridger's great. He can sit here. So anyways, they start talking about their fund that these 3 gentlemen are going to launch. And it was very clear that Bridger was not going to be a part of this. Okay. And I'm like, it makes sense. Like we're in one of their big buildings. We're in the building. He owns the building that we're in, like this huge building. Anyways, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. We're good. They're talking about a fund that they want to build. And I'm kind of Bridger's over here separated. In a moment of courage, because I had learned all this stuff, I'd ran funds. I don't know what it is. You know how you have those like 15 seconds of insane courage, sometimes you get? And I was like, I had this moment of courage. I kind of raised my hand. I'm like, hey, real quick. Are you guys going to run an American or European waterfall? Are you guys going to do a 3C1, 3C5, or 3C7 fund? Are you going to do what kind of pref, catch-up, carried interest are you guys going to do? And they all looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, these are just basic fun things. Like, what are you guys going to do? And they say, go to the whiteboard and explain what you mean. So I stand up, I go to the whiteboard, and over the next 7 to 10 minutes, I explain a lot of this pretty basic stuff. You guys have been through, you're like, what's the difference between a 3C1, a 3C5, a 3C7? What's a Reg D 506B, 506C? What's a Reg A fund, a Reg CF fund? These are all simple stuff, an IA versus an RIA versus an ERA, like what licenses you need, all that kind of stuff. How international feeder fund structures work, okay? I explained this to them over about 7 minutes. My clout in the room went from like nothing dirt, like literally 0. In about 7 minutes, they were like, holy crap, Bridger just taught us a lot of stuff we didn't realize about funds. We need this guy. They wanted me to be a 25% owner on the new fund. They were going to be 25, 25, 25, and 25. I was an equal owner on the fund at 25 years old when all these guys are twice my age and way more successful than I am. Why? Because I knew things that they didn't know. The stuff that you learn in Black Card, in this stuff, this is the stuff my dad had taught me. The regular people have no idea. Even people that have worked in funds don't know how funds are structured and put together. And I was like, man, it really, so like people, they overlooked my age. I had some good experience, but still 25 years old because I knew things they didn't know. I'm telling you the story because there's things, people are, man, that guy got so lucky, The stuff you learn here, even if, let's say worst case scenario, you join Black Card, you don't even launch a fund, which we have a lot of people that join Black Card, they don't even plan a job. They don't I don't even want to launch a fund. I just want to learn how funds operate. And furthermore, worst case scenario, you don't even launch a fund, you understand the ins and outs of funds, number one. You understand the language of funds and how they work. And number two, you have a network of 1,200 fund managers that collectively manage $4.8 billion of AUM. Worst case scenario, if all you got out of Black Card was that, the language of funds and a network of 1,200 fund managers that manage $4.8 billion, would it be worth the purchase price of joining Black Card? That if you got invited to a meeting, when preparation meets opportunity, this is the preparation that you could go up to a whiteboard like Bridger did, not complex stuff, and explain how funds are put together, how they're structured. Oh, and I've got some contacts in this space too. And I've got a resource section we can use. We could go and use all these partnerships that I have this access to in Black Card for life. Oh, and I have a software we could use too. Oh, and I have a pitch deck designer. Think of how much more value you'd add to a partnership. People always say oh, how do you find good partners? Man, you got so lucky with your partner. You want to know the secret to finding good partners? Be a good partner. That's the secret. You want to know the secret to dating a 10? In the dating world. How do you date a 10? The easiest way to date a 10 is to also be a 10. If you want to date 6s, be a 6. It's pretty simple. Sometimes I know people like me or and whoever, Kendall over here, sometimes we can get lucky and we're 6s and we can date 10s, okay? There we go. Sorry, Kendall. I'm throwing you under the bus with me. Sometimes we get lucky. We're 6s, we can date 10s. But honestly, if you're trying to get good business partners, be a 10. Other 10, my business partner currently, Dan Young, you can put me full screen if you want. Dan Young was on the board of Intel for 16 years. He's done about $300 million in revenue in his businesses. He's about 54 years old. He's a platinum partner with or a gold platinum partner with Microsoft. I mean, this guy, he's on the board of AMD and Intel in Silicon Valley. Why would he partner with Bridger Pennington? I believe because I've sharpened my axe enough and I have enough information in different categories that he doesn't have where he sees, man, Bridger's an equal to me. We're 50-50 partners on my fund. So that's my subtle pitch for why, and whether it's Black or something else, but sharpen the axe. This is the best business vehicle you can be in. Black Card, we are with you for life. We are here. Come in with your awesome ideas and all the stuff you're doing. And even worst case scenario, even if it doesn't work, you're going to be in a room with 1,200 other people that manage $4.8 billion. What are the chances that you get spun up in a different business or a different fund or a different idea? And now you've sharpened your axe enough where you're not just getting drug along, you're a valuable partner in that enterprise. If you go down to the crux of yes, we're going to launch your fund and everything, but the worst case scenario, that's the crux. Okay? All right. Whew. Pretty fun. You guys are still on here. I didn't scare you all away. There we go. I love it. We're an hour 17 in. Okay. Let's hit a few more questions here if we have. I think we had a few. Any experience building funds for senior living development? Yes, Frederick. Yeah. A bunch of people do that. We have actually an awesome group. Brandon Schwab in our group. He's crushed it with senior living. It's been great. I have a software development company with amazing softwares in the market and a logistics company want to scale a fund to grow. Should I create one or two funds? Depends. It's up to you. What would be the biggest value add in that fund? Would it be to do one? Let's see. amazing softwares in the market and logistics. So you could do a logistics or a software. If it makes sense to merge them, you can merge them. It's up to you. And that's what we do in Black Card. One of our big things we do, if you share my screen one more time, we look through your edge and structuring, can we find asymmetrical risk in this fund? And what's our edge? So we'd come in and our coaches would help you figure out what would be the best way to structure a strong edge for investors. How many funds can be created with a Black Card membership? So when you join, generally you can talk to the people on my team. Generally people get like one fund, so that your current membership counts for one fund. But if you're in Black Card, you can add more funds. So we have discounted legal partnerships. I think it's like 10 to 15 grand. You can add a second or third or fourth or fifth or 10th fund. Those same legal partners charge $30,000, $40,000. We get a discount because we have a volume play with them. So it's a 10 to 15 grand for an additional fund. Sarah, it actually may be a good thing that there's a block with crypto investing. There's a drain or two in the crypto system. Yeah, for some of them it's for good reason. A lot of money's been stolen and put in, yeah. So we'll see. Are you working with crypto structures 3 through 5 yet? Space, time, and volume hosting as a base assets for mining in the bank dumpsters, not dissing. Oh yeah, I think we already hit this question. Oh, that's why it popped up again. You're having replies there. Once you're a 6, how do you find other 6s? I don't know. That's a good question. Me and Kendall can tell you a lot about that. No, and that's it's true with all aspects of life. Take fitness. People that work, like your workout buddy, like people want to work out. Generally, people that are the same or better than them. People in business want to work out with people that are the same or better than them. People that date somebody want to work. It's take all aspects of life, and it comes back to introspective. Everyone wants a hack. Everyone's like, what's the life hack that I can get the most bang for my buck? How about you just maximize and get the most bucks? What if you just went all out and sharpened yourself? That you're not trying to hack your way into like a 10. You sharpen yourself so much, which in today's world, a lot of the previous gates of like, oh, you had to be in an Ivy League school, you had to work on Wall Street, a lot of that's been stripped away. And we've moved much more to a merit-based system of where just, if you're smart, it doesn't matter if you're 17 years old or 77 years old. If you're smart and you've got stuff that can help us, we need you, which is a pretty cool thing. So whether you're young or old, it doesn't matter where you're from. We've entered a new world in the last decade or two where they call it the world is becoming flat. Meaning that it's not like flat earthers, but like the world is flat, meaning people in Europe, people in Utah can compete with the same people that are in Greenwich, Connecticut. Will, can you cover the nuances between the GP stakes fund structure versus GP LP? GP stakes is a GP LP structure. Yeah. So I think kind of two different, maybe show my screen from Will. So this is a GP LP structure here. You have a general partner and limited partnerships. And then this is the fund. Your fund goes and makes investments and we raise money. A GP stake. So this is most funds are structured this way. Pretty simple. Our fund with Fund Launch Partners is structured just like this. So I'm going to put FLP for Fund Launch Partners. The difference is our investments are other funds. So there's another fund down here. It's kind of like fund inception. GP. This would be like your fund, for example. You have a limited partnership. We would say, hey, we'd love to invest some money. We'll invest some money into your GP. We want to, we'll grab a piece of your GP. We're usually partners like 7 to 12% partner in the GP. And then we'll also invest into your fund. And then when it's kind of like fund of funds, like a fund that invests in other funds, but it's not because we take a stake in the GP right there. That little square represents that stake in the GP. And then when we do that with a number of funds, we want to do that with about 20 different funds down here. And then whenever those funds make money, the money flows back here and then flows back here to our limited partnership, and then it gets split between our investors and our general partner. That's kind of how it works. Any experience with for-profit sustainable communities? For-profit sustainable communities. I've seen some nonprofit, some for-profit. In our community, we have define sustainable for me if you can. You can come on live if you want. Sustainable is kind of a loaded term. Or type in the chat what you mean. If it's by we have some groups that are doing multifamily, but they make sure it's very sustainable, like from the environment perspective. So they have solar panels, they have farms around there. They let people like do their own farming in the building and around the building. It's kind of cool. So define sustainable for me. DAOs and social media will merge to create global decentralized economic and governance systems, in my opinion. Pretty interesting. I know the Web3 world is interesting, and I think we might get closer and closer in the next few years. All right, y'all. Did I answer all your questions? Environmental and self-supporting. Okay, so more environmental take. Yeah. So, yes, a number of groups, that's a part of their edge, and they actually play for like ESG money. There used to be a huge push on ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance, and they would build funds that would accept ESG because there's all this ESG capital waiting to be deployed. BlackRock kind of unwound that in 2019, 2020. There still is ESG money out there though. So yes. And so number one, that helps you raise capital. And number two, it's part of your investment thesis is, hey, I'll use real estate, for example. We have real estate in a certain area. And also it's, carbon neutral because we do X, Y, and Z to help make that happen, for all these reasons. So yes, that totally happens. Yep. Some investors prefer syndicating a senior living development because they can review the deal. How much details do investors get on the deals we are funding from a general fund? Good question, Frederick. So we actually, and by the way, you can do a single asset fund if you would like in Black Card as well. We're launching a full new product next month, all around single asset funds that you guys will all get access to in Black Card if you want to do a deal by deal basis. Generally speaking, oh shoot, I think we lost it. We'll try again here. Generally speaking, we are talking primarily about what they call blind pool funds. So we'll see if we can get the iPad back here, but I'll write it just in case. Let me see. Want me to replug it in? Maybe. Let's try this. The old trick. Anybody play Nintendo 64? That's the trick right there. Make the controllers work. We'll see if it works. Anyways, I'll say it out loud. There's two different routes you can do: single asset funds or blind pool funds. Single asset fund would be like a deal by deal basis. So, hey, we're raising for 123 Main Street. A blind pool fund would say, hey, we're raising money to go do 10 to 15 properties over the next 18 months. Now, I would still tell you, Frederick, in a blind pool fund, I would still tell you to lead with a deal or two. So say, hey, we're doing 123 Main Street. So we're raising for this deal, but also once we finish that deal, we plan to do another 8 to 10 deals after this. Does that make sense? There's pros and cons of both. Some investors like to be on the deal specifically, which is great because they get to see access to the deal. It's usually easier to raise money for a deal at a time. The downside is you usually get worse debt because you're not banks want volume or repeat customers, so your debt's usually more expensive. Number two, economies of scale to close quickly on your next deal or next deal. Like we have guys in our group, they did 27 syndications in a year. Like every week or two, they're calling the phones. Hey, money's got to be wired on Friday. When you have a fund, your money's already ready to go. You can just close on deals faster. You can get better terms. I'll tell you a quick story. So again, both are good. We help people on both sides. Generally, most people that are good at syndications eventually end up in a fund. And I'll tell you a quick story. I had a mentor. They bid on like $100 million property. So a big property, $100 million. That was the list price. A syndicator put an offer in at $98 million. Their fund came in and put an offer in at $94 million. The fund won the deal at $94 million. And I was like, why? They got more money from the syndicator. And they go, because the seller knew a syndicator is got to spend the next 6 months getting money together and doing due diligence and the terms. And they would rather give us a fund $4 million off because they know we can close in 30 days and the money is ready to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts because we're a $10.5 billion fund. And so he goes, we get deals cheaper with better debt because we're a fund. The last thing I'll say for investors, in a fund, they get diversification. If one deal goes bad, that deal went bad. In a fund, though, with 20 deals, 2 are going to go bad, 2 are going to do amazing, and 16 of them will have a blended return of whatever return. So that's why most people end up rolling to fund. When you move, by the way, there are going to be some investors like, I don't want to do a fund, and you guys are sorry. If you want access to my great deals and what I'm doing, we're doing a fund. My dad, when he said when he moved from a syndication to a fund, they lost a handful of investors. But they gained a whole new group of investors. And they scaled to whatever billions of dollars they had because of that. So, all right, y'all, I'm going to hop off. The deadline is Friday, March 28th for this, all the stuff for the Dallas event, the 5K down. We're doing some cool discounts and promos this month for you guys. It's kind of a cool spot to be in right now in Blackheart. I mean, we're seeing, by the way, economic kind of turmoil, some markets around. It is a great time to be a fund manager. It's a great time. When there's dips, when there's uncertainty, that's when you buy. You don't buy when the market's up. You want to have a fund ready to go when things drop, when there's distressed assets. That's when you want to buy when there's blood in the streets. Right now, it's been a little choppy, you could say. It's been a little choppy. So anyways, it's a great time to be a fund manager. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the great questions again. Go talk to my team. It's Adam, Lindsay. We've got the whole team over here is phenomenal. Bree, I think they're on right now. Go message them, send them a text. There's only a handful of people. They're all trained on with me. They're with me most days here. And just send them a text back. Hey, I was on the call today. Follow up. The deadline is Friday to get everything in. We're putting stuff in for the Dallas event. It should be pretty fun. Furthermore, we've got a cruise we're doing the Mediterranean in the fall. We got an event at our office, and then we're doing another event in Utah as well, so for the rest of the year. So you guys are welcome to come to these events when you're in Black Card and be part of the Black Card family. And you're in Black Card for life, so welcome in. It's a great family to be in. We're all in for you guys. This is what we do. This is what we do day in and day out. Make you guys successful. All right. Y'all are amazing. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. I just ended it.